So you have a New Year's resolution and you want in some aspect to get out of your own way and really move your life forward in a certain way, shape, and form. And with the New Year's resolution, it comes around every single time, but about halfway through January alone, most people have already fallen off the wagon and not kept their promise to themselves. And there's three things especially that prevent you from following through on your New Year's resolution and getting out of your own way for good. And this is a series of a 5 episode series that is going to cover exactly what those are. I'm Sensei Victoria Whitfield, founder of strategicmeditation.com, where I help impact-driven empath entrepreneurs ground and clear their energy so that when they feel better, they can do better. We want you to increase your income and impact by raising your vibration. And these videos are my love letter to you to encourage you to keep going and never give up, right? You are here for a purpose, on purpose. You are meaningful. Your life has meaning. And I want to encourage you to never give up and go for it. How I do that, especially in my work, is with my empath entrepreneurs. We tackle holistic stress management. So yes, I'm a performance coach, a life coach, I'm a Reiki master teacher, a meditation teacher. I have a vast toolbox to help my people really increase their income and impact by raising their vibrational level, right? Having positive vibes, long story short. And if that speaks to you, you've landed on the right space. This is meant to be a bit of inspiration, motivation as you start the day, right? Or refresh your energy before you go out there and serve. This video is also a continuation of an ongoing book study. Let me grab that for you, of Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. If you have ever, I dropped my paper. If you have ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, this book is amazing because Think and Grow Rich tells you exactly what to do. This book covers why you're not doing it. So this is the Get Out of Your Own Way book. And this next 5 episodes is inspired by the 10th chapter of this book, Outwitting the Devil, Secrets to Freedom and Success. And it's about the angel and the devil on our shoulder, especially an interview with the devil, the self-sabotage side. That's what Napoleon Hill does throughout this book and really builds a profound foundation for anyone to build a successful life on using this book. And so chapter 10 is about self-discipline. Self-discipline. And my spirit guides told me to bring this topic forward, especially now, because at the filming of this video, as you can see, there's like lots of snow on the ground. Can you see outside here of my office? All of the snow. All of the snow is so pretty. So it's January here at the filming of this video, and this is the time when everyone wants to start over, right? Start fresh and start anew. And we have this surge of a new opportunity, a new year, a brand new month, the first month of a brand new year. And with this new start, it's also a new moon while I'm filming this now as well. So with all of this newness, there's this inspiration to want to have a new victory, to have new progress, to start fresh and reset ourselves and our own lives. And what can happen though is that there's all of the patterning from before in the past that stops us in our tracks. Oftentimes when we're deciding on what's the New Year's resolution, whenever you're watching this, you might be watching this at any point of the year. But if you're looking to start fresh, right? We're bringing the start fresh energy up in today's topic. So when we have a resolution, that means we've resolved, we've made a decision, right? We're drawing a line in the sand. Decision is rooted in the meaning to cut, right? So we're cutting off a certain part of ourselves, or a certain, as in behavior, part of ourselves, or an identity that we no longer want to carry forward into our lives in the future, or into our relationships and the things that we're building. But when we have a resolution, this is really supposed to be where you've decided, okay, no more of something, right? And I have quite a few family members and clients that are deciding no more alcohol, for example, and having a dry January after the wild holidays. This is a great time to like cool down, cool off, go within, clear out, cleanse, whatever it is. So that could be an example of a resolve, where you've resolved, I'm not putting a certain substance in my body anymore that I used to on a regular basis. But what happens then, continuing with that as an example, when you go to birthday parties, when you go to networking, or other forms of gatherings, socializing, and celebrations where that's the norm, to put a certain substance in your body to connect with others, then the issue of getting in your own way can start to crop up. And my spirit guides are telling me to say that getting in your own way is an emotion. It is a feeling that you can have. And self-discipline is all about learning not only to have feelings, but to manage your feelings. Let's go even a little bit deeper. Let me put the book down for a second. It is so important for you to control how you feel. This is actually the secret to personal freedom and self-mastery, is mastery of your emotions. And the three main emotions that can cause us to either rule our lives or be ruled in our lives are as follows. So there's the emotion of food, the emotion of sex, and the emotion of ego. In the book Outwitting the Devil, in chapter 10, which is on self-discipline, Napoleon Hill really dives in on all three of those emotions. And over the next few episodes of this video podcast, we're going to be diving into each one of those. But before we get into each one of those specific three emotions that could rule us, I wanted to lay a bit of a pre-foundation for you to understand why these three emotions are what determine us. And it's actually because of your limbic system. In your brain, you have the reptilian brain, which is at the back, right? And it is the oldest part of the brain. It's your animal impulses, right? And then from the reptilian brain, we then have our limbic system, right? Which so there's the reptilian brain, and then built on top of that, grown out of that to be more complex, is the limbic system. And then finally, thirdly, is the neocortex and out in the frontal lobe. So the reptilian brain is the oldest part of the brain. This is for movement, for desires, mate, feed, kill, repeat, etc., where you're not thinking, right? The reptilian brain, that's not thinking, that's just reactions, right? Your animal side. Every human is a mammal, right? So our human animal is what the reptilian brain is all about. Digestion, pumping blood, pumping your heart, blinking, all these things come from the oldest part of the brain. But then we have the limbic system, and this is not only our actions of mate, feed, kill, repeat, but our desire, our emotions, our feelings, our memories about mate, feed, kill, repeat, right? As that basic human nature. And the limbic system is where we have our emotions. It also affects our hormones. It is the bridge between feelings and feelings. How do you say? Emotional feelings and physical feelings. The same way that if you are emotionally stressed out, you can start to show signs of physical stress in the body. And the limbic system is highly impressionable. Lastly is the neocortex and the frontal lobe. So all of that is more critical thinking, advanced thought, creativity, perception and meaning creation, all of these higher functions of what really make us human. Whereas our limbic system is our emotions, our knee-jerk reactions. Our cravings, right? Your cravings come from your hypothalamus. So be kind, that's part of your limbic system. And so be kind to yourself if you crave food, or you're craving sex or porn, or you are craving attention, right? The ego, attention, or craving to debate, to criticize, right? That type of intellectual addiction. That is actually your limbic system, and more media now, right? Online, on the TV, on the radio, on podcasts, all kinds of media are and advertising are swaying towards limbic system activation. What does that mean? That means all of marketing and advertising is focused on ruling you through your limbic system. If they can get you to feel, they can get you to do. The same is also true of if you can get you to feel, you can get you to do. That's why when you feel better, you do better. The secret to self-mastery and getting out of your own way is managing your feelings, and that's emotional and physical. Okay, and now I'm going to read to you out of Outwitting the Devil, the beginning of chapter 10. Self-discipline, right? Let's do it. So Napoleon's talking back and forth with his devil on his shoulder. And keep in mind what we just said. If I can get myself to feel, I can get myself to do. But if they can get me to feel, they then can get me to do what they want. If I can get me to feel a certain way, I can get me to do certain activities, more of the things that I want to do and less of what I want. Let me give an example. If I can feel positive and feel grounded and feel a sense of joy around fasting, for example, rather than feel a sense of dread, feel a sense of fear, feel a sense of confusion, and I don't get it. If I can feel good about fasting, I will do the actions that create a fasted state. But if I don't feel good emotionally, right? If I think down about it, or I'm afraid of it, or poo-poo it off, or think it's dangerous, then I will definitely not do actions that induce a fasted state. Is this making sense? This is the secret for getting out of your own way. So keep that in mind. Okay, what matters most is how you feel, as in the method in which you generate your feelings. All right, unpause. Napoleon's talking to the devil on his shoulder. He asks, what preparation must one undergo before being able to move with definiteness of purpose, right? Decisiveness at all times. The devil on his shoulder responds, one must gain mastery over self. This is the second of the 7 principles that he goes throughout the whole book. The person who is not master of himself can never be master of others. Lack of self-mastery is, of itself, the most destructive form of indefiniteness. So Napoleon answers, well, okay, where should one begin when making a start over self-control? Making a start at control over self. The devil answers, by mastering the 3 appetites responsible for most of one's lack of self-discipline. The 3 appetites are 1, the desire for food, 2, the desire for expression of sex, and 3, the desire to express loosely organized opinions. Napoleon answers, does man have other appetites over which needs control? The devil responds, yes, many of them, but these 3 are the ones which should be conquered first. When a man becomes a master of these 3 appetites, he has developed enough self-discipline to conquer easily those of lesser importance. Napoleon asks, but these are natural appetites. They must be indulged as one is to be healthy and happy, right? Food, sex, expressing your thoughts. The devil answers, to be sure, they are natural appetites, but they are also dangerous because people who have not mastered themselves overfeed the appetites. Self-mastery contemplates sufficient control over the appetites to enable one to feed them what they need and withhold food not needed. I'm going to reread that last sentence again. This is so good. Self-mastery contemplates sufficient control over the appetites to enable one to feed them what they need and withhold food not needed. Tying this back to getting out of your own way. To be able to discern the difference between the right amount of food, theoretically, right, to give to those appetites of the need for food, sex, and self-expression, the right amount of energy to give each, right, food, energy, to discern the difference between the right amount of energy to give versus when to withhold excessive energy, excessive attention, excessive behavior investment, right? Am I going to have a handful of popcorn when I open that bag in the food example? Or when I open that bag, I'm going to have the entire bag, even though the serving size on the bag says for like 5 people. I'm going to have for 1 person or for 5. The ability to discern the difference between the right amount of food versus when is the right time to withhold food. And this is where I want to tell you a story. It's a tale of 2 wolves. So in Native American Cherokee tradition, I'm part Blackfoot Lakota, but in the Cherokee tradition especially, when a young boy comes of age, his grandfather will take him aside and tell him a story. He says, son, within me, there is a war going on. A war of 2 wolves. These wolves are always fighting. It is the good wolf and the evil wolf. Within me, there are 2 wolves fighting. The good wolf represents joy, love, peace, happiness, service, patience, calm, health. The evil wolf represents anger, violence, vengeance, grief, depression, fear, worry, sadness, anxiety, attack, and aggression. These two wolves are at war in me and in every man, woman, and child. And so the boy that the grandfather is speaking to will think to himself, it's like, well, Grandpa, how do you know which wolf is winning? How do you know which wolf will win? And the grandpa responds, the wolf you choose to feed. And so the moral of the story is, when you consider those two sides of yourself, the angel and the devil on your shoulder, or in this instance, the good wolf and the bad wolf, they're always there. They're always there. But it's up to you to give your energy to one more so than the other. If you keep getting in your own way, you may not have realized until now that you getting in your own way is actually a choice to feed the bad wolf, to feed the devil on your shoulder. And what are you feeding them? It is the food of your attention, the food of your energy, the food of your focus, the food of your time, the food of your money, the food of your space, the food of your identity, the food of your words, and the food of your emotion. That's what we're talking about. When which wolf will you feed, right? What will you choose, the angel or the devil on your shoulder? Is what am I paying attention to? What am I invested in emotionally? Am I invested in the positive or am I invested in the negative? What am I allowing to rile me up and energize me? The good or the bad? Am I more energized by bad things now or by good things? Am I more energized by freaking out about impending doom and disaster and the prospect of failure and how that confirms so much about me that if I fail, I knew it? Or am I more energized instead by the prospect of success and risk and leaps of faith and synchronicity and the universe being on my side, and that as always, everything always works out for me? What am I allowing myself to be energized about? This is the tale of two wolves within you. And that is the beginning, the foundation of starting to control your emotions. As an empath, you live in a highly sensitive body and a highly sensitive world. And this is your first line of defense to protect your energy, is to control your energy, control your emotions, rather than blowing up or reacting or being hijacked, not just by your own feelings, but also what somebody else might have said, an off comment, or something that you saw while scrolling, right? Or you stub your toe and or you eat the one thing and that means F it the rest of the day. The rest of the day is just downhill from here, right? Be kind to yourself. We're having this conversation to bring it forward in your energy so that you have an opportunity to make good on your New Year's resolution or your new resolution whenever you're doing it. You can follow through and move your life forward. The secret to doing that in a sustainable way, though, is reeling it in, getting out of your own way by controlling your emotions, choosing which wolf will you feed. The card of the day is 5 of water, right side up. So 5 means changing. Water means emotions, right? Things not turning out the way you'd hoped, not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilled milk. So you want to be on the lookout for things that trigger you emotionally today and this week ahead, right? You want to be on the lookout, this card is saying. And you know there are landmines, emotional landmines in your life that just hot buttons just getting pushed. Just, whoo, right? And that could send you into a tizzy or have you actually completely distracted by drama, right? Or distracted by other people's feelings, right? Your emotions are volatile. This card is coming forward today to confirm that. And it's right side up. Again, that's an affirmation. It means you already know this. You just need to be reminded. So it's time to be vigilant about it. Now, we've spoken, right, and philosophized around how to manage our energy and how to get out of our own way. This is only the first of 5 podcast episodes, so make sure that you hit subscribe on YouTube for our continuation of this discussion. But now that we've talked about it, it's time to be about it, right? How do you start getting out of your own way? If that's the goal, let's get you ready and in alignment with getting out of your own way by doing a strategic meditation. So if you have not yet, go to bevisionarymovement.com, B-E, visionarymovement.com, not just the letter B. And go ahead, open up an account so that you can type into my vault of visualizations the strategic meditation of the day. This is your action step to do the meditation of the day. And you're going to type in the search bar at the top of the screen. Go ahead and type this in. Lion Spirit Guide Guided Drum. Type it in. Lion Spirit Guide Guided Drum. It's 11 minutes per day. And what that is going to be a drum track where I'm speaking over it with you, taking you to your lion spirit guide to help you embrace your confidence and open the way forward. Remove any and all obstacles with lion spirit guide. That's your action step for today. Comment below. What did you see, notice, receive? Did you do the meditation? Would love to hear that. And make sure you go ahead and tap the screen to hit the share button so that you can share this insight on your favorite social media platform. Spread the love. That's what it's all about. Mwah. I'm sending you so much love. We'll see you in the next one. Remember, you do not have to lose your glow as you grow in life and business. Bye for now.